Today on General Hospital, Trina ponders the possibility that her mother shot Drew. Dante is furious with Gio, and Britt blames Emma for getting Rocco into trouble. Curtis stops by Portia's office. Having heard she had a checkup, Portia says so far everything is on track, but this is considered an older pregnancy, so she doesn't want to rush into telling people. Curtis warns her that Stella already figured out she's pregnant, and she's also not happy about the divorce. Curtis says Stella wants them to stay together and raise their child, but Portia shuts that down, already knowing he's run back to Jordan. Curtis says they may not work as husband and wife, but they have been great parents to Trina and can do the same for their baby. Curtis is about to leave when he notices an ultrasound photo on Portia's desk. Gio and Emma arrive, hoping to see Ned, but an angry Britt grabs Emma to talk. Emma sends Gio to go up to see Ned, and Britt then accuses Emma of putting Rocco up to stealing her key fob, and now he may go to prison. Emma admits that she thought Dalton was testing on animals, and she was wrong. Britt assumes Rocco has been playing her this whole time, just to get that key fob for Emma. Emma says she has it wrong, and for reasons she doesn't understand. Rocco likes Britt and wants to believe she's a good person. Emma insists she is sorry about what happened to Rocco. Britt tells her that, as someone who has made her share of mistakes, an apology doesn't fix everything, and some mistakes you have to live with. Gio steps off the elevator to find Dante filling Brooke Lynn in on what happened to Rocco. Gio approaches them and admits he's the reason Rocco broke into the lab. He explains he joined Emma's group against animal cruelty, and they were convinced Dalton was testing on animals. They recruited Danny, Rocco, and Charlotte to help them. Gio tells them the kids were never supposed to go into the lab. They were just supposed to create a diversion so he and Emma could break in. However, everything was called off after Ned's heart attack, but the kids went ahead and broke in on their own. Dante says his brother has been arrested, handcuffed, and is sitting in a cell, when it should be Gio in there. Brooklyn steps in to calm things down, as Gio insists he didn't ask Rocco to break into the lab. Dante says he didn't need to ask him. All Rocco cares about is being part of his family. Even if Gio doesn't want to be a part of Rocco's, ouch, that had to hurt Gio. Who thinks this might bring Gio and Brooklyn closer, though? At Ava's gallery, Kai meets up with Trina, who has decided to tell her parents they were at Drew the night he was shot. She believes that if she tells them the blackmail material is gone, the strain on their marriage will go away. Kai says it's possible that the stress her parents are under has nothing to do with the blackmail. He says Drew hasn't made any demands of her parents lately, and they both know her mom doesn't have an alibi for her whereabouts when Drew was shot. At the polls, Liz runs into Laura, who says things went horribly wrong at Rocco's arraignment. Nathan arrives and says he made sure Rocco got his own room at juvie, so he should be isolated from the general population. Laura fumes that this is all Dalton's doing, as when the police questioned him, he never mentioned that his lab had been vandalized. Laura goes to vote, and then Dalton shows up and goads Laura about her grandson going to jail and her potential loss in the election, leaving her powerless to help Rocco. Laura accuses Dalton of lying about his lab being trashed. She won't allow her grandson to be unfairly targeted. As citizens begin filming on their phones, Dalton claims to the witnesses that Laura is using her mayoral power to help Rocco, which is nepotism. She tells him she won't let him railroad a child, and Dalton retaliates. That sounds like a threat and a misuse of her power. She yells that any use of her power as mayor will be warranted. Lulu finds Carly at Bobby's and tells her what happened in court. Carly warns her prison will change her son, so do whatever it takes to save Rocco. Lulu can disprove Dalton's allegation if a witness comes forward, and she has to. Danny and Charlotte, however, she won't let them come forward until she knows they are protected. In court, Rick tells Sunny that he and Turner had a deal, leading Sunny to ask Justine why she broke her agreement with Rick and ambushed a child. She explains Dalton gave her additional evidence she couldn't ignore, and the state won't oppose bail. Rick doesn't trust Justine and says this isn't over. He storms out, and Sunny tells Justine that Dalton has set up his grandson and she's falling for it. Justine tells Sunny that she's only doing her job, and perhaps his grandson is guilty. Sunny says his grandson isn't a liar. Everyone who knows him knows that, and the cops never investigated the lab. Sunny says Dalton would know what to break to frame Rocco without damaging his own research, and the guy is hiding something. Felicia is in Alexis' office, and they discuss how Portia could have obtained access to Edward's gun, given that she visited and treated Monica every week. Still, they have no idea what her motive for shooting Drew might be. Felicia says she continued to look into what Portia is hiding. Rick interrupts to speak with Alexis about Rocco, so Felicia heads out. Rick explains he took Rocco's case as he and Sunny are making peace for their daughter's sake, and perhaps they should do the same. Alexis asks why he's here, and he says he needs Charlotte and Danny to come forward because they were in the lab with Rocco and can counter Dalton's claims of vandalism. Alexis refuses to risk Danny's freedom, so Rick is prepared to make her an offer to sweeten the deal. In her office, Portia shows Curtis the ultrasound, but says it's too early to tell if it's a boy or a girl. Curtis asks to keep it, and she says he can. He takes off with the photo, and Portia tries to keep it together. In the hall, Curtis has tears in his eyes. At the gallery, Trina realizes that if Kai is right, and her mom shot Drew, and her dad knows, that could definitely be what destroyed their marriage. Kai says this is just a theory, but if Trina tells them she was at Drew's, they might tell her the truth. Can she handle that? In Alexis' office, Rick tells Alexis another suspect to look at in Drew's shooting, Portia Robinson. Alexis asks why the doctor would shoot Drew. Rick says he can give her several reasons. Outside of court, Sonny tells Justine that sometimes the system fails, and she acknowledges that sometimes innocent people are convicted while guilty people go free. Sonny hopes she makes sure the justice system doesn't fail his grandson. At Bobby's, Lulu cries to Carly that there is no guarantee Danny and Charlotte won't go down with Rocco. And this feels like what happened to Michael and the Claudia Zaccara drama all over again. They all thought Michael wouldn't go to prison and were wronged out at the hospital. Emma stumbles upon Dante laying into Gio for getting Rocco involved in this Dalton business. Emma insists this is her fault, not Gio's. Dante then assumes Gio screwed over his brother for a girl, and tells Gio to walk away before he says something he'll regret. Too late, Gio walks off with his head hanging low. Emma follows him, and Brooklyn gives Dante a look. At the polls, Laura admits that Rocco broke into Dalton's lab, but claims that any vandalism was done by Dalton himself. She vows to fight him, her family will fight him, and so will the Quartermain. Dalton rolls his eyes and keeps looking off. Laura slaps him, tells him to look at her, and promises him this will not end well for him. Who thinks Laura just made herself the prime suspect? Should something happen to Dalton,